Alright, the game this video is let's make a blanket for my nibbling. Little bitty baby blanket. Quilt. Alright, we're going to get off to a bit of a slow start because honestly there's not that many steps. And I probably ought to be a little bit thorough, huh? So I made a little piece of paper in a square that I've been using as a template to cut out very approximate. Okay, that's how exact my cutting is, okay? But this is me. You can be as exact as you want to be. What have I been doing? I've been cutting out lots of little squares of linen because for whatever reason at this point in my life I have a lot of small pieces of linen left over from sewing projects. Yes? So for my own quilting, I just go full chaos. I'm huddled under a very chaotic quilt of mine that's just going to be perpetually in progress. But for a gift, I want something a little more cohesive. And so everything is linen and it'll, actually be done. And that'll be kind of cool. So what I'm trying to show is that I start out without laying anything out, without a plan particularly. And now we have and now we have this. Just two pieces. Now I figure in an ideal world there'd be kind of a light, dark checkerboard repeating pattern. You think that looks good? I think it looks good. So what I do now, because if I sewed everything together in strips with my inexact cutting, then I'd end up with none of the little corners lining up, right? I promise I won't make you sit through all of this. Alright, so I did just to the corner because I kind of want the corners to line up. I feel like they're an important, part of it being a quilt. So did you get that? See? Now everybody's corners are lined up and I don't have to plan ahead or pin anything. And this is really important to me, and so this makes me happy. Which leaves us attached, but not there. And since on this channel, looking handmade is a feature, not a bug, okay? This is like, imagine that whatever you're making is something that you found in an antique store 60 years old, and you'd be like, oh my goodness, it's handmade. Imagine the story behind it, Just give yourself that grace. Give yourself the grace you are giving to a hypothetical past maker, and enjoy the fact that it looks special and unique, and that's awesome. Okay, there we go. So, next up, sorry for the chaos, is the only fussy bit in all this. You can feel where things come together. And do that. And then since the lines are more or less straight, you just proceed upward. And this gets repeated infinitely, ad nauseum, until you have something the size you're trying to make, which is super cool. And I guess we will start filming again once we have something a little closer to the intended size, which is blessedly still small because it's for a baby. Yay, baby. So I kept adding on lines and lines of squares. This is side B, so I'm experimenting with different sizes of squares. Yeah. Side A has all the same size of squares, and then I got lazy with side B. Either way, it all happens the same, and so I keep on adding rows and rows of little squares with some big squares on side B, and then they're all lined up like flags, and they get tacked down, and then you do the next row over and over. And we have a bunny, a very silly bunny. All right, that's the A side, that's the B side. Bigger pieces go together so much faster, but the different sizes together, while it looks really cool, I actually prefer B side personally. A little bit tricky, but faster. Oh my goodness. Also looks really cool. A side, I mean, there's well, all over the place. There's a few places where I didn't have even the small size square, so there's additional patching. But next up, so something I'm really excited about, as silly as that is. Okay, here's A side, right? Batting. It's yarn. I don't know how long I've had this yarn. I've tried to use it a couple times. It never works out. The balls are just sitting there staring at me, so this is crochet with chunky yarn. But you could knit it, you could crochet it, you could, make it the thickness you want your batting to be. I think on a large blanket you'd end up with a weighted blanket. But use for scrap yarn. Like you could make one of those magic yarn balls or whatever they're called, like all your just tails, and it wouldn't matter that it looks scrappy because it's quilt batting. Ta-da! Wash it and dry it. All the linen's been washed and dried, obviously, but yarn got washed and dried too, just like the quilt will be when it's all done, so everybody will get along together. Yay! Alright, just tying the front and of course I get a knot, and the back and the batting all together, because that's important, right? So when I was a kid, we had a quilt in the house that Mama made in high school that was all big, dark patches and tied together at the corners with dangly bits of red yarn. Obviously, you can't have danglies with a baby quilt, but I like the corner bits, so we're doing that. Everybody gets a corner. Oh, and the back. The big patches in the back get centers and around. And then everybody will be tied together, and I'll have to worry about edges. Okay, all the little X's are done, and now we're dealing with the fact that we don't want yarn sticking out of the edge of our quilt, right? So just binding everything. This is the only linen that isn't teeny tiny pieces from other projects. I got like a half a yard off the end of a bolt, so we're not worrying about mitering corners. We're just folding things over and whip stitching them, and it's actually pretty cute. It's so soft. I was thinking the washing and the drying would get rid of the thread evidence of some of these pieces being formerly used in pieces of clothing, but not entirely. Excuse the poison ivy, it's a chronic problem at this point. But oh my goodness, I love it. Look. The washing and the drying makes it look even more pre-loved. I'm thrilled with this. If you're not into it, then you could iron. I didn't iron. You can be more precise than me, but oh my god, I love it. Also, it is the softest thing I've ever made. I want one. Now, will I actually make like a human-sized one of these? No, probably not. Will I start knitting or crocheting scrap yarn into squares and putting those squares under the patches when I patch the comforter and make it squishier and bigger and fluffier and heavier? Yes, yes, I'll do that because this thing's awesome and I love it and I just want to cuddle it, and that's perfect for a nibbling, right? He's 6 months old. So, yay. Also, like, checkerboards should be stimulating for their brain at that size, right? In unrelated news, I am very sorry that I disappeared for like freaking ever. I am going to try and do better about that. There's a lot of stuff going on that I'm really excited about if I can just get it to work. So, cross your fingers for me. I love all of you. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have something just as amazing and snuggly and soft as this.